Hi, this is Stack here again. I just wanted to talk today about was the presidential council route neutralised in 2025 a constitutional and statistical analysis. I just want to bring some mathematics in here just to show, the extent of the variation. And, this might help people understand, kind of mathematically, what the numbers are saying and how mathematics can be used to highlight this. Today, I want to explain something very serious about the 2025 presidential nomination process in Ireland. It's not speculation. This is not rhetoric. This is constitutional structure and mathematics. Under Article 12 of Bunreacht and hÉireann, there are two ways to reach the presidential ballot. One is nomination by members of the Oireachtas. The other is nomination by local authorities, the city, county and city, the city and county council. Under the council route, at each council may nominate only one candidate at most, and a single candidate must secure nominations from at least 4 separate councils to qualify for the ballot. 4 is not symbolic, it is a strict constitutional threshold. Now consider what happened. In 2018, 20 councils nominated at least one candidate. 20. This meant candidates were able to reach the 4 council threshold and enter the ballot through this constitutional pathway. In 2025, only 3 councils nominated any candidate at all. 3. Because each council may nominate only one candidate, if only 3 councils nominated anyone in total, it becomes mathematically impossible for any candidate clearly to reach 4. This means the Article 12 council route, one of the 2 parallel constitutional pathways to the presidency, became non-functional in practice. And this matters because Article 12 is not isolated. Articles 1 and 6 of the Constitution establish that Ireland is a sovereign democratic state, and what is very important here is that all powers of government derive from the people, Article 6. But that sovereignty is exercised through constitutional procedures. If a constitutional route to the ballot disappears in practice, that affects how popular sovereignty is operationalised. So the next question is, could the 2025 outcome simply be due to normal variation? To answer that properly, we use a standard statistical method called the binomial, or tool called the binomial distribution. A binomial distribution models situations where you have a fixed number of trials, in this case 31 councils, and each one produces a nomination or it does not, a success or a failure, S or F. So you have that. It's a very good one for. It's very, very suitable for analysis through the binomial distribution modelling. The underlying assumptions are very close to what's almost perfect in some respects. In 2018, 20 out of 31 councils nominated a candidate, a potential candidate. This gives a baseline nomination rate of about 65% if we use that estimate as 20 divided by 31 is approximately 0.65. If the system in 2025 were operating under similar conditions, we can calculate using the probability structure theorem, probability that only 3 or fewer councils would nominate anyone. We can calculate the probability that only 3 or fewer councils would nominate anyone. When you perform that calculation using the binomial distribution, the probability is extraordinarily small. It's effectively near zero, on the order of 1 in billions. In other words, if 2025 had been functioning like 2018, the outcome we observed would be statistically almost impossible. Now, people really don't understand, I don't think they understand what's going on here in terms of when you look at the analysis, what it's saying about that differential. To make the 2025 result typical rather than extraordinary, the underlying nomination rate would have had to collapse from about 65% to around just under 10%. This is not normal fluctuation. This is structural change. Now bring in Article 34 of the Constitution, which provides for judicial cognizability. Constitutional compliance is not merely theoretical. Whether constitutional mechanisms are functioning in reality is something that cannot be examined and evaluated. The point here is precise and measured. Using the binomial distribution of calculated probabilities, the 2025 collapse in council nominations represents a statistically extreme deviation from 2018 conditions. And because there are only 3 councils nominated anyone, the 4 council threshold under Article 12 became unreachable in practice. When a constitutional pathway on paper exists on paper but cannot function in reality, that raises a serious constitutional question. This is not about personalities. It is about whether a constitutional mechanism operated as designed. And the numbers show that something fundamental changed between 2018 and 2025. So that's a very simple first stage analysis using the wonderful binomial theorem.